Hare Hare Krishna and Pranam dear devotees. So welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam reading session. So let me share the quiz results for yesterday. Okay. So we are 9 members today, and five members have attempted the quiz. And these are the scores. Atul Prabhu, all correct answers. Pinky Mataji also, second position, all correct answers. Sandeep Prabhu, all correct. And Shrivi, all correct. वेदांश का एक गलत हो गया. आज क्वेश्चन सिंपल थे. So let us begin with our today's session. So today we have His Grace Rameshwar Bhagavan Prabhu who will take the session, and we are going to start from first canto, 15th chapter, verse number 12.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna and Pranam dear devotees. So we'll begin by prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitariне. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll begin from chapter 15. So this is the Pandavas retire. So Arjun Arjun is sharing his remembrance of the Lord when the Lord has departed from this world. So he is now sharing. So we'll begin with 1:15:12. I'll start reading. Yatejasatha Bhagavan Yudhi Shula Pranir Vismapita Sagir Jo Astram Dan Nijam Me Anya Pichaham Amu Nev Kaleveran Prapto Mahendra Bhavane Mahad Asanadharma. Asan, that is for Asan. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It was by his influence only that in the fight I was able to astonish the personality of God, Lord Shiva, and his wife, the daughter of Mount Himalaya. Thus he became pleased with me and awarded me with his own weapon. Other demigods also delivered their respective weapons to me. And in addition, I was able to reach the heavenly planets in this present body and was allowed a half elevated seat. So यहाँ पे इस श्लोक में इस श्लोक में जो है अर्जुन जो है he's explaining that how he fought जो है he was fought with demigods और जो है उसने demigods की भी सहायता करी और वो अपने आप को कह रहा है कि even now when the Lord has left still he is feeling so helpless. So आगे हम देखते हैं that how Prabhupada explains it. Let's read the purport. By the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, all demigods, including Lord Shiva, were pleased with Arjun. The idea is that one who is favored by the Lord Shiva or any other demigod may not necessarily be favored by the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. Ravan was certainly a great devotee of Ravan was certainly a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but he could not be saved from the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra. So यहाँ पे देखिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण point है. The idea is that one who is favored by Lord Shiva or any other demigods may not necessarily be favored by the Supreme Lord. तो यहाँ पे एग्जाम्पल दे जा रहा है कि जैसे जो रावण है उसने भक्ति करी, उसने तपस्या करी, भक्ति तो नहीं, ही डिड ऑल द तपस्या, और उसने क्या मांगा, ब्रह्मा जी से वरदान. तो यहाँ दिखा रहे हैं कि कैसे देवताओं से तो आपको जो है यू गॉट बेनेडिक्शन फ्रॉम द डेमीगॉड्स, बट जो भगवान है उनसे नहीं मिलता. तो ये नहीं है कि आपको देवताओं से अगर कोई फेवर मिला है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि भगवान से भी आपको फेवर मिले. इनफैक्ट यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है कि कैसे रावण, दो ही वॉज शिव भक्त, but he got the severity punishment from Lord Ramchandra. And there are many. छोटा हो गया स्क्रीन. And there are many instances like that in the histories of Puranas. But here is an instance where we can see that the Lord Shiva became pleased even in the fight with Arjun. The devotees of the Supreme Lord know how to respect demigods, but the devotees of demigods sometimes foolishly think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no greater than the demigods. By such conception, one becomes an offender and ultimately meets with the same end as Ravan and others. The instances described by Arjun during his friendly dealings with Lord Krishna are instructive for all who may be convinced by the lessons that one can achieve all favors simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. Whereas the devotees or worshippers of the demigods may achieve only partial benefits, which are also perishable, just as demigods themselves are. So we'll repeat. The instances described by Arjun during his friendly dealing with Lord Krishna are instructive for all who may be convinced by the lesson that one can achieve all favors simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. तो बता रहे हैं कि जब उन्होंने शिव भगवान से भी उन्होंने that he fought with Lord Shiva, and in that fight he got many weapons जो होते हैं दिव्य अस्त्र उनको शिव जी से मिले. तो कह रहे हैं कि और वो भी उसका जो श्रेय है वो कहते हैं ये भी मैं कर पाया क्योंकि सिर्फ भगवान की कृपा से. I did not do anything but it was all because of the Lord. और लेकिन जो है क्योंकि यहाँ बता रहे जा रहे कि भक्त जो है वो जानता है कि कैसे जो है वो आदर करना जानता है कि कौन देवी हैं, देवता हैं, उनकी क्या पोजीशन है, और उनको समझता है और उनको आदर करता है. He respects them, he give them the due respect which is there. लेकिन जो अभक्त है इसके बारे में बता रहे हैं कि even though if somebody may be a worshipper of a demigod, यहाँ पे उसमें एग्जाम्पल दिया है रावण का कि वो देखिए वो जो है वो शिव जी का भक्त है, लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ी गलती करते हैं वो करते हैं कि वो कहते हैं कि ये तो यही है हमारे लिए, एंड जो भगवान है, भगवान कृष्ण, दे डू नॉट एग्जिस्ट, और ट्रीट देम लाइक एन ऑर्डिनरी पर्सन. Another significance of the present verse is that Arjun, by the grace of Lord Shri Krishna, was able to reach the heavenly planet even with the same body, and was honored by heavenly demigods, Indra, Dev, being seated with him half elevated. One can reach the heavenly planets by the pious acts recommended in the Shastras in the category of fruitive activities. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, when the reactions of such pious acts are spent, the enjoyer is again degraded to this earthly planet. The moon is also on the level with the heavenly planets. Okay, the moon is also on the level with heavenly planets, and only person who have performed virtues only, performing sacrifices, giving charity, undergoing severe austerities, can be allowed to enter into the heavenly planets after the duration of life of the body. Arjun was allowed to enter into heavenly planets in the self same body simply by the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible to do so. तो यहाँ पे जो है, यहाँ पे अर्जुन जो है वो बता रहा है कि कैसे that how he was able to go to the different planets just by just because of the mercy of the Lord. उसमें ही बताया है, और यहाँ पे बता रहे हैं कि जैसे इस श्लोक में बताया है, once again, people, can you scroll? No, that's okay. क्योंकि बताया है कि जो है कि इवन जो है आप तब करके भी वहां जा सकते हैं, लाइक विद ऑल ऑफ गिविंग ऑल चैरिटी, परफॉर्मिंग सैक्रिफाइसेस और सिवियर ऑस्टेरिटीज के बाद भी आप जा सकते हैं, लेकिन नेक्स्ट लाइफ में सेम बॉडी में नहीं जा सकते. लेकिन वहां पे बता रहे हैं दैट अर्जुन was able to travel to other planets just because of the mercy of the Lord itself. और यहाँ वो बताया है कि जैसे even when you get elevated to those planets, still even when the benefits are खत्म, जो आपके जो पुण्य है वो खत्म हो जाते हैं, तो आप वापस जो है इसी वापस आपको वहां पर आना पड़ता है, जैसे कि श्लोक 9.21 भगवत गीता में बताया गया है कि वहां पे बताया है when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the result of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. ये 9.21 में बताया है कि जब जो मनुष्य है, जब वो अपने जो पुण्य जो है, जब वो सारे एंजॉय कर लेता है हेवनली प्लैनेट्स में, और जब उनके रिएक्शंस खत्म हो जाते हैं, then he again come back to this material world. Reading further. The present population is more or less influenced by the mode of passion, ignorance, and the symptoms for such influence are exhibited in their becoming very lusty and greedy. Such degraded fellows can hardly approach the higher planetary systems. Above the heavenly planets, there are many other planets also, which only those who are influenced by goodness can reach. In heavenly and other planets within this universe, the inhabitants are all highly intelligent, many more times than the human beings, and they are all pious in higher and highest mode of goodness. They are all devotees of the Lord, and although their goodness is not unadulterated, they still are known as demigods, possessing the maximum amount of good qualities possible within this material world. तो यहाँ पे जो है अर्जुन बता रहे हैं that even though for an ordinary person, for a person to go to heavenly planets, he has to do so many austerities or difficulties to go to other planets, but because of Krishna, he could go to other planets, and the boon that he got only with the help of him. And again that he got the benedictions from the demigod. So he's showing his gratefulness to the Lord. He's remembering all the जितने भी उसके जो पास्ट टाइम्स थे भगवान के साथ, या जो भी उसकी the past times that he had or the time that he spent with Lord. So he's remembering, and he's remembering and being grateful to the God. So he's remembering all of them. So we can move to next, and we'll have Anand Vilasni Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. Text 13. तत्रैव मे विहरतो भुजदण्डयुग्मं गाण्डिव लक्षणम् अराति वधाय देवा सेन्द्राः श्रिता यद् अनुभावितम् आजमीधा तेना अहम् अद्य मुषितः पुरुषेण भुम्ना. Translation. When I stayed for some days as a guest in the heavenly planets, all the heavenly demigods, including King Indradev, took shelter of my arms, which were marked with the Gandiv bow, to kill the demon named Nivat Kavach. O King, descendant of Ajamida, at the present moment I am bereft of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose influence I was so powerful. Purport. The heavenly demigods are certainly more intelligent, powerful, and beautiful. And yet they had to take help from Arjun because of his Gandev bow, which was empowered by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord is all powerful, and by his grace, his pure devotee can be as powerful as he may desire. And there is no limit to it. And when the Lord withdraws his power from anyone, he is powerless by the will of the Lord.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। सो देखिए यहाँ पे अर्जुन जो बता रहे हैं, दो he himself was able, वो बता रहे हैं that he was able to help the demigods। जब वो वहाँ heavenly planets गए, इंद्र के planet पे गए, तो वहाँ पे he was able to help। और but now with the Lord is gone, यहाँ पे उसने demons को भी हराया, और फिर भी अब जो कह रहे हैं कि अब क्योंकि अब भगवान जा चुके हैं, तो कह रहे हैं कि ये मैंने नहीं किया था, it all because of the Lord। Now the Lord is gone, so he's saying that I do not have any power। It is the same Arjun that who helped the even the King Indra, लेकिन now he's sharing that without Lord I am helpless। We can read next। Yes, Nidhi Mata ji।
यत् बन्धवा कुरु बलपतिम् अनन्तपरम् एको रथेनातातरे हम अत्रिया शातवम् प्रत्ययारतं बहुधनं चामाया परेशं तेजस्पदं मणिमयं चाहृतं शिरोभया। Translation. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelt many invisible existence, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I seated on the chariot was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many helmets of the kings, which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of all brilliance. Purport. On the Kaurava side, there were many stalwarts commanders like Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and Karna, and their military strength was as insurmountable as the great ocean. And yet it was due to Lord Krishna's grace that Arjun alone, sitting on the chariot, could manage to vanquish them one after another without difficulty. There were many changes of the commanders on the other side, but on the Pandava side, Arjun alone on the chariot, driven by Lord Krishna, could manage the whole responsibility of the great war. Similarly, when the Pandavas were living at the palace of Virat incognito, the Kauravas picked up a quarrel with King Virat and decided to take away his large number of cows. While they were taking away the cows, Arjun fought with them incognito and was able to regain the cows along with some booty taken by force, the jewels set on the turbans of the royal order. Arjun remembered that all this was possible by the grace of the Lord. Prabhuji, you're on mute.
Sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna। So Arjun again here he is explaining again and again, giving more examples, like he is remembering that how Lord helped him। So he is giving more examples of how his power that came from Krishna only। कि कैसे जो है, जो जब वो ये अज्ञातवास में थे, तो जब ये राजा विराट के यहाँ थे, तो कौरवों ने वहां पर अटैक करके उनकी जो है गैया ले ली, और अर्जुन अकेले ही जाके उन सबको हरा के and he takes away the cows back। and आगे हम देखेंगे आगे के श्लोकों में भी that he is further explaining about that war, that how he was helped by Krishna। Yes, anyone like to read further? Yes, Nidhi Madhav, you can read, no problem।
प्रभुजी थोड़ा सा ऊपर कर, हाँ। यो भीष्म करन गुरु शाल्य चमशु अधभ्र राजन वर्यारथ मंडला मंदितासु अग्रेचरो ममो विभोरथा युथापनम अयूर्मनं सीचादृशा सहो ऊजा अर्चत। ट्रांसलेशन। प्रभु जी थोड़ा सा ऊपर करिए इसको। It was he who only withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who in the battlefield withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Shalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate, but he, Lord Sri Krishna, while going forward, did all this. Purport: the absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expands himself by his plenary Paramatma portion in everyone's heart, and thus he directs everyone in the matter of recollection, forgetfulness, knowledge, the absence of intelligence, and all psychological activities. As the Supreme Lord, he can increase or decrease the duration of life of a living being. Thus the Lord conducted the battle of Kurukshetra according to his own plan. He wanted that battle to establish Yudhishthir as the emperor of this planet and to facilitate this transcendental business. He killed all who were on the opposite party by his omnipotent will. The other party was equipped with all military strength, supported by big generals like Bhishma, Drona, and Shalya, and it would have been physically impossible for Arjun to win the battle had the Lord not helped him by every kind of tactic. Such tactics are generally followed by every statesman, even in modern warfare, but they are all done materially by powerful espionages, military tactics, and diplomatic maneuvers. But because Arjun was the Lord's affectionate devotee, the Lord did all this himself without personal anxiety by Arjun. That is the way of the devotional service to the Lord.
So here again, we see that how Arjun is explaining again that everything that he further explains about that.
Prabhuji, you are on mute again.
I'm so sorry, Mataji. When I dono haath hata liya, I didn't realize that I moved away. Okay, so Prabhu, can you just scroll up a little bit? So Arjun again explains that how Krishna, that he helped him, और वो बताते हैं in the beginning itself that Prabhupada explains that the absolute personality of Godhead expand himself by his plenary Paramatma portion in everyone's heart, and he directs everyone in the matter of recollection, forgetfulness, knowledge, and the absolute absence of intelligence, all physiological activities. भगवद गीता 15:15. So वहां पे क्या बताते हैं 15:15 में? So it says सर्वस्य चाहम हृदिम संविष्टो mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. That the Lord, he's sitting, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. और further उसमें बताते हैं कि जो वेद हैं, वेदों का what is the purpose? The purpose of the Vedas is to know him. That's what the Bhagavad Gita 15:15 shloka tells. So यहाँ पे Arjun again he says that how the Lord can increase and decrease the duration of life. वो बताते हैं the other party was equipped with all military strength supported by big generals like Bhishma, Drona, Shalya. वो कहते हैं उनके लिए ये possible नहीं था. It was physically impossible. हम जो है as a viewer or an outsider, we may be able to guess कि okay क्या strength थी, क्या था वहां पे, किसका क्या मनोभाव था, लेकिन जो अर्जुन है, he himself is saying, because he was there, so who's the best to understand? It was Arjun only. He can understand कि वो किनकी strength थी, and he's saying कि भाई physically it was not possible for me to win them. And again he's showing his gratefulness, and he said that all of that is being done, it's only because of the Lord Krishna was there. So यहाँ पे जो है, in this way we see that how a bhakt always remains grateful to the Lord. He always remember that how the Lord has benefited him. कैसे भगवान ने उनको कब कहाँ क्या मदद करी, क्या करा, कैसे जिस भी स्थिति में थे वहां पे भगवान ने उनके साथ क्या करा. सो जो है वो हमेशा उन सारी चीजों को याद रखते हैं भक्त के, भगवान ने कैसे कैसे उनके साथ कैसे कैसे डीलिंग्स करी, हाउ ही हेल्प्ड हिम, हाउ कैसे उनका जो था भगवान के साथ आदान प्रदान था, दैट द भक्त ऑलवेज रिमेम्बर्स. So now this further is going to be explained further, और अब देखते हैं कि कैसे अर्जुन आगे याद करते हैं. Yes, so Nishtha Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, can you please read the Sanskrit verse, please?
I'll also try, Mataji. Yadoshuma. Okay, let me open in my system. मुझे थोड़ा सा font size बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. This is 15, 16. यद्दोषमा प्रणिहितं गुरुभीष्म कर्ण निप्त्रिग्रत्र शैलस्य सैन्धव्य भालिकाध्ये अस्त्राणे अमोघ महिमानि निरूपितानि न उपस्पर्श नरहरिदासं इवासुरानि न उपरश नरहरिदासं इवा असुरानि. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Translation. Great generals like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Bhurishrava, Susharma, Shalya, Jayadatt, and Bhalika all directed their invincible weapons against me. But by his Lord Krishna grace, they could not even touch a hair of my head. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, the supreme devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev, was unaffected by the weapons the demons used against him. Purport. The history of Prahlad Maharaj, the great devotee of Nrsimhadev, is narrated in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj, a small child of only 5 years, became the object of envy for his great father Hiranyakashipu only because of his becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. The demon father employed all his weapons to kill the devotee son Prahlad. But by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from all sorts of dangerous actions by his father. He was thrown in a fire in boiling oil from the top of a hill underneath the legs of an elephant and was administered poison. At last, the father himself took up a chopper to kill his son, and thus Nrsimhadev appeared and killed the hilarious father in the presence of the son. Thus, no one can kill the devotee of the Lord. Similarly, Arjun was also saved by the Lord, although all dangerous weapons were employed by his great opponents like Bhishma.
Yes, so यहाँ पे देखिए कि that how Arjun is now remembering Prahlad Maharaj. अब देखिए now he is comparing himself to Prahlad Maharaj also, in the sense not as a compare, but how the metaphor is here that he is remembering Prahlad Maharaj. अब देखिए प्रहलाद महाराज का क्या सामर्थ्य था? Was he in a position to defend himself, or did he has any potential to defend himself from so many great demons? और जो उनके जो असुरों के जो शस्त्र होते हैं, अस्त्र शस्त्र थे, he had no उनके पास तो इतना potential नहीं था. He was just a small child, 5 साल के छोटे से बालक. He was completely dependent on Lord. So Arjun also now remembering that similarly, like even I, मेरा अपना कोई सामर्थ्य नहीं है, so जो भी मैं कर सका, जैसे ऊपर उन्होंने सबके नाम बताए हैं कि इतने सारे उनमें देखे महारथी थे, I didn't do anything. I had no qualifications, or I have no qualifications is not the right word, but no potential to fight them, क्योंकि वो सारे महारथी एक साथ थे. So he said even I didn't have. So like we'll read further जहाँ पे बताया है that how he's talking about all of them.
Karna, born of Kunti by the sun god prior to her marriage with Maharaj Pandu, Karna took his birth with bangles and earrings, extraordinary signs of an undaunted hero. In the beginning, his name was Vasusena, but when he grew up, he presented his natural bangles and earrings to Indradev, and henceforward he became known as Vaikantana. After his birth from the maiden Kunti, he was thrown in the Ganges. Later, he was picked by Adhirath, and he and his wife Radha brought him up as their own offspring. Karna was very charitable, especially towards the Brahmanas. There was nothing he could not spare from a Brahman. In the same charitable spirit, he gave in charity his natural bangles and earrings to Indradev, who, being very much satisfied with him, gave him in return a great weapon called Shakti. He was admitted as one of the students of Dronacharya, and from the very beginning, there was some rivalry between him and Arjuna. Seeing his constant rivalry with Arjuna, Duryodhana picked him up as his companion, and this gradually grew into great intimacy. He was also present in the great assembly of Draupadi Swayamvar function, and when he attempted to exhibit his talent in that meeting, Draupadi's brother declared that Karna could not take part in the competition because of his being the son of Shudra carpenter. Although he was refused in the competition, still when Arjuna was successful in piercing the fish target on the ceiling and Draupadi bestowed her garland upon Arjuna, Karn and other disappointed princes offered an unusual stumbling block to Arjuna while he was leaving with Draupadi. Specifically, Karna fought with him very valiantly, and all of them were defeated by Arjuna. Duryodhana was very much pleased with Karna because of his constant rivalry with Arjuna, and when he was in power, he enthroned Karna in the stage of Anga. Being baffled in his attempt to win Draupadi, Karna advised Duryodhana to attack King Drupad, for after defeating him, both Arjuna and Draupadi could be arrested. But Dronacharya rebuked them for this conspiracy and refrained from the action. Karna was defeated many times, not only by Arjuna but also by Bhimsena. He was the king of the kingdom of Bengal, Orissa, and Madras combined. Later on, he took an active part in the Rajasuya sacrifice of Maharaja Yudhishthir, and when there was a gambling between the rival brothers designed by Shakuni, Karna took part in the game. And he was very pleased when Draupadi was offered as a bet in the gambling. This fed his old grudge. When Draupadi was in the game, he was very enthusiastic to declare the news. And it is he who ordered Dushasana to take away the garments of both the Pandavas and Draupadi. He asked Draupadi to select another husband because, being lost by the Pandavas, she was rendered a slave of the Kurus. He was always an enemy of the Pandavas, and whenever there was an opportunity, he tried to cut them by all means. During the Battle of Kurukshetra, he foresaw the conclusive result and he expressed his opinion that due to Lord Krishna's being the chariot driver of Arjuna, the battle should be won by Arjuna. He always differed with Bhishma, and sometimes he was proud enough to say that within 5 days he could finish up the Pandavas if Bhishma Dev would not interfere with his plan of action. But he was much mortified when Bhishma died. He killed Ghatotkaч with the Shakti weapon obtained from Indradev. His son Vishwasen was killed by Arjun. He killed the largest number of Pandava soldiers. At last, there was a severe fight with Arjuna, and it was he only who was able to knock off the helmet of Arjuna. But it so happened that the wheel of his chariot stuck in the battlefield mud, and when he got down to set the wheel right, Arjuna took the opportunity and killed him, although he requested Arjuna not to do so. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. It's a long purport. So यहाँ पे जो है प्रभुपाद ने एक तरीके से आप देखिए प्रभुपाद has given a small life of Karna, that how he was born, क्या qualities थी और कैसे जो था he was always अर्जुन से वो उसकी जो ईर्ष्या थी, like in competition, he was always in competition with Arjun, और उसको बताते हुए कैसे उसने दुर्योधन का साथ दिया, like he was always on the wrong side, so how he worked with, how he moved there, and how his killing happened. So that entire life story of Karna is given here. And further, we read further where we see that how next is Napta and Tringa, and then Jayadratha की story आएगी. I know it's a long purport, so Ronnie, should we stop here and read further tomorrow? Because we may need another 5 to 6 more minutes.
Yes. Okay, Prabhu.
Or we complete it here. However you like. I'm okay.
No, you decide.
So I'll read and I'll brief it quickly. Let me read it.
Okay.
Share. Okay. Napta or Bhurishwara was the son of Somdat, a member of Kuru family. His other brother was Shalya. Both the brothers and father attended Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. All of them appreciated the wonderful strength of Arjun due to his being the devotee friend of Lord, and thus Bhurishwar advised the sons of Dhritarashtra not to pick any quarrel or fight with them. All of them also attended the Rajsuya Yagya of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He possessed one Akushini regiment of army, several elephants and chariots, and all these were employed in battle of Kurukshetra on behalf of Duryodhan's party. He was counted by Bhim as one of the Yuthapatis. In the battle of Kurukshetra, he was specially engaged in fight with Satyaki, and he killed 10 sons of Satyaki. Later on, Arjun cut off his hands and he was ultimately killed by Satyaki. After his death, he merged into existence of Vishwadev. Trigrata or Shusharma, son of Maharaj Vridhakshetra. He was the king of Trigata Desha, and he was also present in the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. He was one of the allies of Duryodhan, and he advised Duryodhan to attack the Matsya Desh during the time of cow stealing in Virat Nagar. He was able to arrest Maharaj Virat, but later Maharaj Virat was released by Bhim in the battle of Kurukshetra. He also fought very valiantly, but at the end was killed by Arjun. Jayadratha, another son of Maharaj Vridhakshetra. He was the king of Sindhu Desh, modern Sindh, Pakistan. His wife's name was Dushala. He was also present in Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi, and he desired very strongly to have her hand, but he failed in the competition. But since then, he always sought the opportunity to get in touch with Draupadi. When he was going to marry in Shalyadesh, on the way to Kamvarnya, he happened to see Draupadi again and was too much attracted to her. The Pandavas and Draupadis were then in exile. After losing their empire in gambling, and Jayadratha thought it was wise to send news to Draupadi in an illicit manner through Koteshya, one of his associates. Draupadi at once refused vehemently the proposal of Jayadratha, but being so much attracted by the beauty of Draupadi, he tried again and again. Every time he was refused by Draupadi. He tried to take her away forcibly on his chariot, and at first Draupadi gave him a good dashing, and he fell like a cut root tree. But he was not discouraged, and he was able to force Draupadi to sit on the chariot. This incident was seen by Dhaumya Muni, and he strongly protested the action of Jayadratha. He also followed the chariot, and through Dhritakya, the matter was brought to the notice of Maharaj Yudhishthir. The Pandavas then attacked the soldier of Jayadratha and killed them all. And at last, Bhim caught hold of Jayadratha and beat him very severely, almost dead. Then all but 5 hairs were cut off his head, and he was taken to all the kings and introduced as slave of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He was forced to admit himself to be the slave of Maharaj Yudhishthir before all the princely order. And in the same condition, he was brought before Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir was kind enough to order him released when he admitted to being a tributary prince under Maharaj Yudhishthir. Queen Draupadi also desired his release. After this incident, he was allowed to return to his country. Being so insulted, he went to Gangotri in Himalayas and undertook severe type of penance to please Lord Shiva. He asked his benediction to defeat all Pandavas, at least one at a time. Then the battle of Kurukshetra began, and he took sides of Duryodhana. In the first day's fight, he was engaged with Maharaj Drupad, and then with Virat, and then with Abhimanyu. While Abhimanyu was being killed mercilessly, surrounded by 7 great generals, the Pandavas came to his help, but Jayadratha, by the mercy of Lord Shiva, repulsed them with great ability. At this, Arjun took a vow to kill him, and on hearing this, Jayadratha wanted to leave the battlefield and asked permission from Kaurav for this cowardly action, but he was not allowed to do so. On the contrary, he was obliged to fight with Arjun, and while the fight was going on, Lord Krishna reminded Arjun that the benediction of Shiva upon Jayadratha was that whoever would cause his head to fall on the ground would die at once. He therefore advised Arjun to throw the head of Jayadratha directly onto the lap of his father, who was engaged in penances at Samantha Panchak privilege. This was actually done by Arjun. Jayadratha's father was surprised to see the severed head on his lap, and at once he threw it on the ground. The father immediately died, and his forehead being cracked in 7 pieces. So, यहाँ पे देखिए प्रभुपाद ने पहले जो है he gave the story, the life, जो एक glimpse दिया कर्ण की life का, और जैसे ही जो महारथी हैं उनके बारे में प्रभुपाद ने बताया that how Arjun killed them, and Arjun, while remembering, he is remembering that how he was able to do everything by the support of the Lord, and he continuously remembers and being more grateful to the Lord. अब जो भक्त और अभक्त में यही डिफरेंस रहता है कि जो भक्त है वो बार बार भगवान को याद करता है. He remembers that how Lord helped him, सुख में दुख में किसी भी स्थिति में. और जो अभक्त है वो जो है वो क्या करता है, if the demigods have helped him, so he feels that okay, they are the one, nothing beyond that. जैसे हमने वर्सेस में पढ़ा कि अभक्त जो है वो यही एक जो है उसका गलती जो होती है वो यही होती है. He feels that the demigods are everything, nobody is beyond them. और उसके बाद जो है then it is I am the one who has everything. And Arjun continues remember and being grateful. और जो हम कल पढ़ेंगे we'll read further that how he's again showing अपनी कृतज्ञता जो है वो कैसे भगवान के लिए दिखाता है. Hare Krishna. It was long purport, and thank you everyone for staying. It is 8:30. I'm sorry for doing it for long. So we'll end the session now. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshitarane Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.